Hello everyone, welcome to another coffee and chat video. It is the afternoon, so I'm not drinking coffee. But for those of you who are new here, this is just a series where I talk about like controversial topics or like more out of the ordinary topics in mainstream culture or like whatever I see on the internet type of thing that might be a little bit controversial. And I give my candid thoughts on it. And I also like to hear yours down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for those of you who are returning to the channel. Returning subscribers, members especially, who help keep the channel going with your support. I will also link it down below if you're interested in joining over there. And of course, for everybody who hits the like button, who leaves comments and engages, it all helps push forward the message on this channel. And so I do really appreciate it. And I say this every single video, but honestly, I do really appreciate it. I want to apologize a little bit for the lower quality of the video today. I'm going through a health issue that will probably drag on over the next couple of weeks, but I have made it a goal of mine to at least put out one video every single week, preferably on Sundays or Mondays in the year 2025. So there are going to be some candid videos here and there on the channel that, just might be when I'm out living life as a full-time wife and mother and I can't put the best editing into the video. So anyway, today let's talk about what I've seen on the internet, many people in the traditional femininity community, as well as some people on Twitter, fighting over if you are a stay-at-home mom, once you become a stay-at-home mom from like a stay-at-home wife, should you split chores with your husband or expect your husband to pick up the slack, so to speak, after you have children? Because the belief of the pro argument in this sense is that when you become a stay-at-home mom, your focus is being a mom first and a like housekeeper second. So in that sense, like splitting the chores 50-50 in a more modern sense. And the other side is of course that like being a homemaker is taking care of everything, the house as well as the children. And so there seems to be a little bit of a feud on the internet with regards to this. Because I believe that I am a balanced, more so traditional wife and mother, and I know a lot of people have abandoned this term, but I have not, a balanced traditional wife and mother. And I truly believe that living a traditional life as a traditional feminine woman is balance. It is not extreme on one end or extreme on the other. I think that this is the wrong question to be asking and the wrong thing to be focusing on. And I want to bring it back to basics, what I've always advocated for in this space on the internet, which is to take a look at your value. Prioritizing your family, your kids, your husband, nurturing your femininity through homemaking in your home are core values of living a traditional life. However, you cannot compare your marriage to somebody else's marriage. You cannot compare your husband's profession, your husband's energy levels, your husband's health, your mental well-being, your energy levels, your ability of what you can handle on your plate to somebody else's. So to say that all traditional wives should do all the housework, for example, or like should split the chores 50-50 and their main role is to focus on the children is, I believe, the wrong thing to focus on. I instead, again, coming back to balance, is to look at your priorities and, of course, have a good relationship with your husband and an understanding of your energy levels and want to bless him by doing the most that you can in your relationship, but by also not burning yourself out. And likewise, him burning himself out. Comparing an office job husband to perhaps a blue-collared husband is totally different. I think that the questions that you should be asking yourself instead are, am I putting my best foot forward in being a wife and mother? Am I looking at this like a high calling, a very important vocation? Am I falling into laziness? And also I made a video on femininity and laziness as a feminine homemaker. Am I giving into excuses and not putting my best foot forward? Again, these are all traps that we see in modern society, giving into excuses, but there is a balance, and that is why I always pair femininity with homemaking, because I truly do believe that if you prioritize being a feminine woman, you will have that healthy balance, not to burn yourself out, but also not to fall into laziness. In terms of your husband as well, I think that there's a lot of negative modern perspective out there, kind of expecting a husband to work a double shift due to all the suffering that we as women have historically endured due to working a double shift ourselves. But in a marriage, it shouldn't be this way. It should be both people putting their best foot forward and find what genuinely works for them. For me, I enjoy housework. I find it relaxing. I would rather do 100 hours of housework than work a 30-hour work week. Of course, there are so many difficulties in being a stay-at-home mother. For me, I would rather work harder as a stay-at-home mother than go out in the workplace because of my personality. My husband's career, he deals with very complex problems. So for that reason, I don't mind paired with my own personality, doing a large majority of the housework. Now, does that mean that there aren't periods in postpartum or like hard times or like even the health issue I've dealt with over the past couple weeks that my husband helps, that my husband gets takeout? Of course. But there's this understanding that we can pick up the slack of each other because we both understand that we are putting our best foot forward in the roles that we have chosen that gives us the most self-fulfillment. I believe that totally comparing yourself to another woman who has more traditional values and her marriage, again, is the wrong question to ask, is the wrong thing to focus on, and it can breed resentment, which is, of course, negative for the message of the core values that we're trying to promote when it comes to traditional femininity, wifehood, and motherhood, and it breeds resentment and contempt in marriages. Let me know what you think down below on this message. I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.